Hey, hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Kandace and Dayreon.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. On Tobago Updates, viewers, we are being joined by Mr. Dayreon Mitchell, GIS Specialist at the Tobago Emergency Management Agency. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning and thank you all for having me once again.
All right, great. So now we are talking about the readiness for tropical storms, for hurricanes and so on, because yes, viewers, we are getting into that season. It hasn't begun? It has begun.
Yeah, it began on the 1st of June and it runs until the end of November annually.
Yes. So viewers, I mean, this is something that we always need to pay attention to every single year, because we are, even though we are at, the edge of the hurricane belt, we are still at risk. And I mean, this discussion is so pertinent right now, especially as we have tropical storm Brett within our region. We may not be affected by it other than some bits of rain, but we need to start thinking and being prepared. Now, Mr. Mitchell this morning is going to be speaking about just some of the incidents that we've experienced, or the pattern of incidents that we've experienced over the past couple years. And take it away.
All right, so what we realized is that the resilience on the island would have decreased slightly throughout the past years. 2021, we saw that we had 447 reports. That is throughout the entire year, primarily during the hurricane season or the ending of the rainy season, September, October. 2022, when we had that adverse weather, when everybody was out in Burna Boy, we actually received 1,125 reports, which should have been a 151% increase between 2021 to 2022. Now, what we want to do is encourage persons to start building their resilience within their homes, opposed to just waiting for someone to come and do something. So if you're living in a flood-susceptible area, start doing some trenching, redirecting the water course. If you're living somewhere that is susceptible to landslides, walk around your home, evaluate your home, see the types of trees, if they're looking like they'll probably fall down, if there are strong winds. All of these things we can do to decrease the amount of impact that we would receive if we were to receive a storm. Now, with Brett being out so early, this is very rare that we have so much activity within the Atlantic at this time of the year. It usually comes September, October, later on in the year. Now, if you all are paying attention, you see there's Tropical Storm Brett, a newly formed tropical depression, which was AL93, and behind that we still have a tropical disturbance that is more southward. So the Met Service will be looking at that as well, because of how south it is, it actually has the ability to impact us if it maintains and continues. So we really want to encourage persons to be as informed as possible and prepared.
Now, I want the director to put up some. Okay, so this is just an idea of what Dayreon was speaking about in terms of just the weather patterns that are on the way, right? We're seeing Tropical Storm Brett and the other two just right there. So viewers, you need to pay attention to what's going on. Now, if we look at the other picture in regards to the incident report, right? I want to go to the map. Right. So I want to spend some time speaking about this, because this is extremely important for our viewers to take note of. And this is like the incident data for 2021?
Yeah, this would have been 2021. So areas in red would have been those that received the most amount of reports.
And what kind of reports did they see in that Mariah? We see in Mariah and Scarborough.
Right. So based on so these are two differently topographic areas, right? So Mariah, because of the elevation, they would have received more landslides, fallen trees. Scarborough, however, Friendsfield, etc., would have received a lot of flooding, right? So areas such as Mariah, Mason Hall, and these elevated areas are more susceptible to landslides, and the areas such as the Southwest and Scarborough, they are more susceptible to flooding.
All right, so if you could go back to the map, well, I just want to, because I want to talk a bit about the different areas that are at risk, right? Because is this a pattern? You mentioned the landslides and stuff like that for Mariah. Is this a pattern? Is this something that happens every year? Similar incidents that happen every year in these areas?
Yes, based on the data elevation model, the susceptibility map that I would have produced, as well as combining it with previous reports, we saw that these are the areas that are highly susceptible to certain activities. So if we had this susceptibility map, we would have seen that Mariah is red, Mason Hall is red, Castara, that whole north side is red because of the elevation and how they have the roads. They don't really have much retaining walls going up there, so it's a lot of bush and forestry. So that would increase the ability or the risk of having more landslides as well as fallen trees blocking the roadways.
Now, what's interesting is that, for 2021, we see in areas like Charlottesville and so on, their risk was low. They didn't have that many incidents. I mean, and we know traditionally those areas are can be quite susceptible because of how far north it is latitudinal wise.
What we saw with Charlottesville is the village itself was not badly off, but the roadways, so like Hermitage, Campbellton, and coming around Hairpin Curve, those were the areas that would have received the most, let's say, boulders coming down, fallen trees blocking the roadways. But in terms of residential impact, their level was very low within that time frame. There were 1 and 2 residential landslides and 1 and 2 block roads. But within the community itself, they were really self-sustained and they can handle themselves. So their resilience is pretty strong within there. But if it comes to the road being completely blocked, then we would go and assist them as much as possible. So their incidents would have been very low.
What about in terms of, how people could pay attention to what's happening within their space, to know when to be at home, or how to move, what they should be concerned about when we have an adverse weather warning?
Okay, if you could just pull back up the map with the hurricane. But while he does that, right, so this is one of the maps I would have created. So I created this. If you look to the left of the screen, it will show you general weather for Scarborough as well as Piarco. Now you see there are 6 watches/warnings out right now, and they will show you where the watches and warnings are right now, and 2 active cyclones or potential cyclones out there. So you can see where Brett is, you can see the projected path, and you can see where the other depression is and the projected path. Now, why I did this, it's to kind of give persons an idea as to how to be prepared, because sometimes you may say, all right, there's a tropical storm outside, but it does not mean that it's directly going to affect us. So a lot of persons now just hear tropical storm, and then when it passes, they say, but no storm income, no rain and fall, because they're not really paying attention. So we encourage persons to stay informed. So I did an interactive map that will give persons a better idea or understanding. So when you zoom in, you'll be able to see where you are and to see if the storm will be passing directly over us. We also encourage persons to create an emergency plan and have a grab-and-go bag. Reason being, in times of panic, you will start forgetting stuff. Now, if you have a grab-and-go bag, you literally grab and go. If you have to evacuate, have an evacuation plan.
What should we have in that grab-and-go bag?
No, in that grab-and-go bag, firstly, water, one of the most important and essential things to life. Some non-perishable food items, change of clothes, medication. If you are taking any type of medication, have some standby medication within that bag. Petty cash, maybe a $200, $300. One form of ID if possible. And basic things like toiletries, etc. So wherever you have to evacuate, you can be comfortable within that space.
Mm-hmm. And what are the other tips that we should keep in mind?
Besides staying informed, as well as having a grab-and-go bag, have an evacuation plan or a communication plan with your family. So in the adverse event that, let's say, God forbid, an earthquake strikes, you always know where the meeting point or the assembly point is, because if there is an earthquake that is strong enough, communications will go down. Phone lines will be jammed, internet may go down, and you have no means of communicating with your family. Now, if you have a plan and you say, okay, if XYZ happens, we're meeting at the Cuddler Hall Community Center, which is an emergency shelter, we would go to that location and meet up. So these are the things that we encourage persons to practice. So know your communication plan, develop it and practice it.
All right. Now, unfortunately, we are out of time for this segment. But most importantly, before you go, let people know where they can find all this information, how they can stay connected with TEMA, and the various ways that they can reach out to you to make reports.
Okay. So first of all, in terms of adverse weather, you can always look to Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Services. You could look for them on Facebook or Instagram as well. The same goes for TEMA, Instagram TEMA EOC. We also have a TikTok page. For those who want to be interactive as well. We encourage persons to stay informed with these social media platforms because all important information will be posted there as well. We also post information to help persons be prepared. Also, if you want to make reports, you can, if you have no money on your phone, you could always dial 211 because we have a relationship with them where they would forward all relevant reports and information to us. So contact 211 and they will get on to us as well.
All right, I want to thank you so much for being on with us and for sharing that very important information. Our viewers, please remember to take note of everything that was said this morning by Mr. Mitchell so that, you can be prepared. Even though we we're less, in some ways, in lesser risk as some of the other our Caribbean neighbors, we are still at risk and we need to be prepared. So thank you again for being on with us. And viewers, don't go anywhere because we have a lot more coming up for you after the break.